Before we start, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Please, not in order.
Valentine's Day. Love and its secrets in ancient Egypt. My love for you penetrates into all my body, just as salt dissolves in water, just as water mixes with wine. Words convey the echoes of the heart of a lover from ancient Egypt. Simmering with affection for the beloved, separated from him by more than 3,000 years. A heart that sought help from the sweetest of the language of his time in a civilization that was the fruit of the fermentation of human experiences based on love. For the ancient Egyptians, love remained a catalyst for the creation of many myths. Poems and literature that crystallized a closer picture of the feelings of the ancient Egyptian in various vocabulary and rhetorical images, embodying them with all his material capabilities. In the past, the status of Egyptian women contributed to creating a literary and social climate that enriched a civilization that did not differentiate between a man and a woman, but was founded on the spirit of cooperation between them, which is evident from reading inscriptions, literary texts, pictures and statues of women in their various roles, as a goddess, queen, or one of the common people. Ancient Egyptians said about love that it is the gift of heaven that nature pours into the cup of life to soothe its bitter taste. They were the first to boast of the passion of love and immortalized it in the world of the living on the walls of their temples and stones, and in their palaces of eternity, so that everyone could live with love in the other world. Graham of Kings, the kings of the pharaohs competed in immortalizing their love stories with the help of art and architecture, so they wrote the eternity of their queens with buildings dedicated to them, and countless inscriptions that highlighted their brilliance in various parts of Egypt. The ancient Egyptian literature preserved a number of titles that the Egyptians gave to women: queen, beloved or wife, confirming her place in the hearts, including beautiful face, great love, shining like the sun, refreshing hearts, lady of joy, lady al-Nasim, our lady of all ladies, beautiful Jamila, lady of the two lands, and other titles mentioned in many texts of ancient Egyptian literature according to context and occasion. The ancient history of Egypt is rich in stories of love and female heroism throughout its ages, the greatest of which emerged in the era of kings of the 18th and 19th dynasties. A period of rule marked by the establishment of the Egyptian Empire and the flourishing of arts, architecture and literary wealth. Such as the love story of King Ahmose I, and his wife, Ahmose Nefertari, and the King Amenhotep III and his wife Taya, King Amenhotep IV, and his wife Nefertiti. And the summit of love stories was of course what brought together King Ramesses II and his beautiful wife, Nefertari. King Ahmose I, whose name means, married his wife Ahmose Nefertari. And I had a great affair thanks to the love of her husband and her king who shared the rule of the country for nearly 22 years. She also left a great impression on the souls of the people and lost her after her death as a great goddess, so she sat with a good triad. Sacred deities. Her husband set up a temple for her in Thebes, and she was depicted on the walls of many of the graves of the nobles of the state, especially the cemeteries of the Deir al-Medina region, which provide us with many funeral paintings representing Her Highness, and a group of priests was assigned to her to worship her. The worship of this beloved queen lasted about 600 years, from her death until the 21st family, and an inscription in the temple of Karnak shows King Pharaoh, the first king of Dynasty 21, worshipping the gods Amun, Mut, Khonsu and Ahmose Nefertari. The 18th family also witnessed the love story of King Amenhotep III, whose name means, and Queen Taya, his beloved and favorite. For her sake, the king initiated a custom that was not followed before him, which is the conjunction of his private royal titles, in official texts and inscriptions, to the name of the queen, his beloved, side by side. King Amenhotep III and Queen Taya were two faces of two divine entities that guarantee the unity and cohesion of the world in them. And it has never happened that a royal couple was united in this way in the cosmic and divine order. Amenhotep III ordered the creation of a vast lake for his great beloved for recreation. And for her sake, he also ordered the erection of a temple dedicated to her worship in the area of Sadanga, 210 kilometers south of Wadi Halfa. And the lobby of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo testifies to the presence of a giant statue of the king sitting next to his beloved tea of the same size. In an artistic indication of the elevation of the matter and the greatness of love. The ancient history of Egypt recorded a royal love story of another kind, unique in its literary and artistic details. It brought together the beloved couple Amenhotep IV, Akhenaten, which means his name, and Queen Nefertiti, whose name means, and who stood beside him in the crisis of changing the official religion from the worship of Amen to the worship of Aton, but accompanied him to his new capital, Akhenaten, south of Minya Governorate, defying the opposition of the priests of Amen. Akhenaten immortalized his love of his heart using new artistic methods that Egyptian art was not familiar with before her, in which the artist tended to depict the spouses in many family love sessions surrounded by the fruit of their love, the six princesses Merit Aton, and Meket Aton, Onkas en Ba'aton, Nefer Nefru Aton, Nefer Nefru Ra, and Stepin Ra. Her unique statue, which is kept by the Berlin Museum, testifies to her special place in the heart of her husband, who used the best sculptors of his time. And she still attracts Nefertiti's expressive features many people from all sides. The land of Egypt preserved the greatest stories of royal love, both materially and emotionally, which is the story of the love of King Ramesses II, whose name means, and his lover and wife Nefertari, whose name means, and who continued to have great love and affection unchallenged her until they die. Nefertari was not of royal origins. Rather, she was of noble lineage, her origins most likely to Thebes, and she was called, Beloved Death. Nefertari accompanied her husband since the first year of his rule, and the inscriptions of the Luxor temple depicted her with a tall stature next to the royal monarch. And she remains next to him in the collective statues carved in granite stone and standing in the first courtyard of the temple.
We will meet you in a new story tomorrow, God willing. If you like the video, click like me and subscribe to the channel to receive all new